Good afternoon, everybody. I am here with my built from scratch 212 mini bike. There's a whole series of episodes on how I built this. I'll go ahead and put a link right here somewhere. I don't know. But we were having kind of an issue with the Juggernaut. Not an issue, but we were tuning the Juggernaut in some episodes past. I'll put a link to that episode as well. So we were testing out top speed on it, and it seemed like it wasn't, the torque converter could be engaging more and giving us a little bit higher top speed. I called Go Powersports, and they sent me this belt a while ago. It's their belt. It's a 725, or yeah, I think it's a 725 would be the number. But anyways, they said that this belt works better for the Juggernaut pulley. It's a slightly bit longer, which should allow the front pulley to engage more and give us more of an overdrive, or get us into somewhere close to overdrive. But this bike's been sitting for a while, so we got to go through a couple things. I want to do an oil change. I need to check the valves, pull the spark plug out, check that. So yeah, I haven't fired this thing in quite a while, and I just want to check it out. The last time I fired it, it kind of ran a little weird, like the handle. It pulled way easier than it normally does. So we'll go ahead and get going on that, and once we're done with that, we'll do another top speed run with this thing. Once this thing's running again, we'll do another top speed run with it, with the original belt. You know, this is the standard 30 series belt. And then we'll slap that Go Powersports belt on there, and we'll see if it gives us some more top speed, see what it does in general. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna do a little tune-up on this thing first. I'll show you guys how to adjust the valves. We'll take a look at the spark plug, drain the oil. Let's get started. Drain this oil out. Gonna make a mess. All right. It's not as black as it looks. It's royal purple, so it's got a kind of a dark color to look to it to begin with. And it's looking okay so far. A little dirty for sure. So while that's draining out, go ahead and get the spark plug out of here. These spark plugs have a really long shaft here, really long shank. Okay. That's not terrible. Doesn't really barely even look like it's been run. It does have some black stuff on it, but that's pretty clean. But the porcelain looks about right. It's got that kind of tannish color to it, so I think that this is fine. I'm gonna clean it real quick and then we'll put it back in. All right, there we go. Put this back in. Alright, so now we got to pull the valve cover off, and that's probably easier said than done, considering how tight it is in here. So we're going to go ahead and get that off of there. It's going to be a bit of a struggle. Alright, so I checked the exhaust valve already. That one has little to no play in it, but the intake valve, on the other hand, has a ton. Too much. So, let's see. I think you're supposed to be at like 3 thousandths or something per valve. Alright, so we're going to adjust it to 3 thousandths. Let's see where we're at on there. We are so far off, it's not even funny. Okay, so let's grab a wrench. So we turn that loose. Bam. And then we can adjust that in a little bit. Ooh, I think we went too far already. Alright, so what we got in here is some dual valve springs and our racing roller rockers, 1.2 ratio. We got some, I think they're titanium valve spring retain, I don't know, some fancy valve spring retainers. Yeah, there we go. That's about perfect. I mean, it could go slightly tighter than that, actually. Let's try 4,000, see if that'll fit in there. I bet it will. Well, no. That doesn't want to quite, yes it will. It'll fit in there. So we're right between 3 and 4 thousandths. I'm gonna go ahead. I really like to have the valve lash set perfect, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna crack this loose, give it just a slight turn, and see if we can hit that 3 thousandths mark. Oh yeah, and that's perfect. We got a little bit of drag. That's absolutely perfect. So let's spin around our engine till our intake valve is closing. And right there, intake valve is pretty much completely open. The exhaust valve is closed. That 3 thousandths fits in there. I mean, that's perfect. A little bit of drag. That's what I thought. Okay. Just from the feel, I could kind of tell that that one was still really good. So, just had to adjust that intake. And pull cord already feels better. There's more compression there, it seems like, than there was. So, I'm going to go ahead and just work this back on here, get these bolts in here, and then we'll take this sucker out for a ride after we get oil in it, of course. Alright, so when I bought the cam for this thing, which is it's a 265 cam, it said to use Royal Purple 0W20, and I just happen to have that for my wife's Toyota RAV4, so that's what we have been using in this thing. That's what I've been using in this thing. Oh, see? Just puked out. Lean it over a little bit too much. I think that's good. I can run that. That'll keep it happy. When I put extra in it, it just ends up in the blow-by, which is good. I got a catch can, so you know, catch any extra oil we got. Okay, so we got oil in it. Let's check and see if we got gas in it. Alright, we're going to run our GPS speedometer here. Dang it, hit the wrong button. Alright, there's our first run. Let's see what we got. 55 miles an hour. Yep, that's about right. So we're gonna swap it out for this. Swap that belt out for this belt. See what happens. All right, good morning, everybody. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to swap this belt out and take this thing for a ride yesterday. My wife had to go to work. So that's what we're gonna do this morning. We're gonna go ahead and pop this belt out, and then we're gonna take this thing for another ride and see if we can get above 55 miles an hour. Alright, so I got that new belt thrown on there, and now I'm gonna slap my helmet on. We're gonna take this thing for a ride, and we're gonna see if we can get higher than 55 miles an hour. And it's cold out. Off. Let's get our speed here. 58 miles an hour. Picked up 3. I wasn't expecting anything dramatic, honestly, and I didn't feel anything dramatic, but it did feel slightly faster, and it was 58 miles an hour. So we picked up 3 miles an hour by changing it out to a different belt, which is fine. I mean, it's worth it. You wear out belts anyway, so might as well run a belt that gets you a little bit more mile an hour. Alright, so there you are, folks. We got that new Go Powersports 725 belt on there, and it gets 3 miles more an hour. So we went from 55 miles an hour to 58. So it worked. I mean, the theory totally worked. So that's good. It's not a huge change. I was really hoping to hit that 60 miles an hour. But I mean, we could do that with a gearing change if we wanted to. We're still, we could make a gearing change and hit 60 miles an hour, for sure. But we don't want to do that. We run trails mostly. 58 miles an hour is ridiculous. Honestly, we could probably go back down to a 50-tooth sprocket, but we're back up to a 60-tooth sprocket and get more torque out of it. But I do like to be able to hit those speeds when I need to. So we got some mini bike races coming up. We're going to see if this thing can last a season. Oh man, I got a grip splitting here. Yeah, look at this. I got a grip splitting here. That's interesting. I haven't had one of these do that yet. And then another issue we're having is this muffler is kind of hokey. I mean, it's a cheap muffler to begin with, and now it's kind of coming apart, but it's still hanging in there. I'm pretty happy with this thing. If you guys haven't seen this thing before, I built this from complete scratch. Started off with this bottom plate. Basically built this bottom plate, put the engine on there, measured things, kind of, started, and then then put this down tube and made sure the head angle was right, and then we kind of just built around and just made this thing work. And then I got this this is a Mega Moto 212 seat, and then I built the back part of the frame around that to hold that, and then we got ourselves a grab bar. But a lot of the designing I did for this, or some of the design features, come from this Articat ramrod right here, and I have another Articat. But you can see the frame design is somewhat similar. It shares a little bit. I like the single tube design for the top for a gas tank, and I like the single tube head tube as well. And then, but the problem is when you get back here, it's really hard to mount a shock. If you were to do like this, and have 2 shocks on each side, super simple. You could even run a single down tube all the way down to the back of the motor, and then you'd run those shocks and you'd have no problems. But if you want to run the single shock, a monoshock, you have to split the frame rail and you have to have a place to put this. Otherwise, you push everything way back. So my goal when I built this was to make this,
a decent size, not make it monstrous. So, and I think I've hit the mark there. You know, it's not the size of a dirt bike quite. Definitely probably weighs as much as most dirt bikes, but it's a little bit smaller. It's got the fat tires. You know, it's got the 212 Predator on it and stuff. Yeah, a pretty hopped up one.
Alright, that's going to be it for this episode. If you want to learn more about this bike, go ahead and check out those links that I had in the video earlier. At the end of this video, I'll try to put a link to the playlist for this bike as well. But yeah, I'm really happy with this thing. That belt change worked. So this thing is running the Juggernaut pulley from Go Powersports. You know, that was the original. I had another video, I'll put a link as well to that one, where we tried to tune the Juggernaut, because when I first put it on, the bike was actually slower. And we had to do some gearing changes and everything, and it worked out, and I really like it now. But with the other gearing that I was running for the traditional 30 series torque converter, it just didn't work out. So we put our Juggernaut on here. We got 55 miles an hour out of it once we did all our gearing changes, but but when I looked at the pulley, the belt wasn't going all the way up it. Well, when I contacted Go Powersports, they said, you know, we have this slightly longer belt, and that helps that situation. And it did. We got 58 miles an hour out of it. So yeah, if you guys like this this video, go ahead and check out the other ones related to this bike and the other Juggernaut tuning video. So yeah, if you guys like this video, please smash that thumbs up for me. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to get notified. I put out videos every Wednesday and Saturday. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.